Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live, everybody. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well wherever you're watching around the world. I'm your host, Jim Masters. This is our entertainment lifestyle talk show series that we do live every single night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific. If you're in Ireland or England, it's like midnight. If you're in the Netherlands and other areas, it's like 1 a.m. Australia, we say good day, good morning. We have viewers all across the United States, Canada, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, you name it. I think the only places where we haven't reached anybody yet are the Arctic Circle and Antarctica. So if you have any cousins or relatives in either location, shoot them an email, text them, tell them to tune into the show if they're watching in Antarctica and the Arctic Circle. Then we've got the globe covered from top to bottom. We got the east-west thing. Now we want the top to bottom. Good to have you with us. A pleasure to have you here. We have also viewers in South America too, as well as North America. And that's very exciting as people continue to really enjoy this show. It's an entertainment lifestyle talk show series that we do nightly live with amazing guests and terrific topics and lots of levity and fun and on location segments, food, music, science, nature, celebrity friends from television and radio, Hollywood, Broadway, music, film, and inspirational people, sports, chefs, just something for everybody, comedy, you name it. It's really fashioned and patterned after an old school talk show like Carson DeCavitt, maybe Mike Douglas, Merv Griffin, some of that style with the modern sensibilities and cool vibes of today. We sort of blend those worlds together with this live entertainment talk show series, which is fashioned like a television show. If you're watching for the first time, I am, again, Jim Masters, your host. I do this work professionally in the real world. This is the real world, too. But professionally in television studios, radio stations, stage, as a television and radio personality, presenter and host, journalist, actor, writer, producer, MC, stage MC, voiceover artist, narrator, and the like. So it's about 18 weeks ago, as of this Monday coming, that we created the Jim Masters Show Live. And so many of you have been just glorious about sharing the links, tagging one another, posting beautiful comments live during our show. If you have comments, you have questions for our guest, or just want to say hello around the world, all the lovities, feel free to do so, because it's a very interactive, viewer interactive show while we're live right now on YouTube at Jim Masters TV and on Facebook at Jim Masters TV. We're also on Periscope at Jim Masters TV and Twitch right now at Jim Masters TV as well. So we've got everything pretty much covered. And we have a worldwide audience that loves to let themselves be known, and we appreciate all of that. So wherever you're watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching this in the archives later on, because a lot of people do binge watching, they tell me. Sometimes they go to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and they'll watch episode after episode after episode, because we've done well over 120 shows thus far here in this series, which is incredible. A lot of work behind the scenes, but a lot of fun and really, really cool. So again, we have a good time here on our show, and we have amazing guests, wonderful conversations. We welcome all of you from around the world, and we do it in style here on the show. As you know, if you watch us regularly, we always have a toast. Yes, we toast all of our guests to you and you and you and you and you and you from wherever you're watching around the world. Hope you have your drink of choice. Nice and smooth as we get ready to celebrate our in the United States. This show broadcasts daily from the northeastern United States, from the greater New York City area, along the southern New England coast between New York and Boston. That's where we broadcast out of. So here in the States, we're getting ready to embark on Labor Day weekend at the time of this show. So we wish everybody a very happy Labor Day weekend, as we will be laboring throughout the weekend with a whole roster of great shows. We have a wonderful guest that's coming up, actor, producer, writer, Bill Foster. He's amazing. In addition to being a phenomenal producer and actor and writer, movie maker, he and his wife own a phenomenal vineyard and winery in Texas, which is doing really, really well. And he also was a superintendent and educator in the education field for a long time. So he's very versatile, cool guy, real straight shooter, and very, very experienced and knowledgeable. And we're going to chat with him in just a second. But of course, we have a cast of characters here that have become regulars on our show, and one of which is George Burns, and he greets all of you. There he is with his cigar and his smile, and he says hello to you and you and you. He greets all of you as well. Again, that's a family heirloom that was passed down, and in the beginning weeks of the show, we added him in, and you guys fell in love with him and said, keep him on the show. There's Jeannie. Jeannie's in the bottle as well, and she says hello. Can you see her in there? She's blinking at you. She's greeting you. This show's all positive. You know what I mean? We've been going through a lot the last several months around the world, so we try to put smiles on people's faces, light, levity, love, or lovity as you guys call it, all the lovities watching. I sort of bumped into that word when I said, I think love and levity, and all of a sudden I said levity, and then everybody fell in love with that word, and everybody's like, hey, I want to see that continued. So that's what we do, as we have a lot of fun here on the show. There's your Silver lab that you guys have fallen in love with. There's Silver. He greets all of you as well. Got him when I was on a TV shoot in Europe and Switzerland. He's sort of our mascot here in the show. He's looking right at you. He sees everybody. He's a cool dog, and he keeps an eye on everything here at our home studio to make sure things are running smoothly and no craziness happens other than the usual craziness. And there's the other friend that you guys have fallen in love with. There's Jimmy. He welcomes you as well. Again, putting smiles on people's faces. This was a childhood toy. And how you doing tonight? You doing all right? I think I'll have him fill in if I'm ever, under the weather or on vacation or something. We'll have Jimmy do the show. Jimmy and Silver are going to stay down there. And then we've got that one other cast member that you guys have fallen in love with, courtesy of the wonderful Dream of Denver, who was a guest here on our show a couple of weeks ago, and that is Gilligan. And there is Gilligan for you. Bob Denver, who played Gilligan on Gilligan's Island and also on Joey Gillis. Aloha, Jim, Dreama Denver. There you go. Now you can see it. And she was a guest on the show, and she said, you know what, with all these cast members you have here, you're missing something on the show. And I said, what could we possibly, with everything we have, all this production value, what could we be missing? She says, you're missing Gilligan, since you're a TV buff, Jim, and work in the industry. So she sent the bobblehead doll, and there he is, and he greets you. Pretty lifelike, huh? He sees all of you and greets you as well. So one last thing that we do as we make things, official, we go all out here on the show. Some lights, camera, and action. Our guest, Bill Foster, has seen a lot of these, the real ones, and has used them as a director himself, so he'll appreciate this. So we do some lights, camera, action. The Jim Masters Show Live is on the air, beaming all around the world. As Tom Snyder used to say, fire up that color teeny. Used to love when he said that. He was a great host too, Tom Snyder. You probably remember him. So how's everybody doing? We like to do a quick greet for our audience around the world, the lovities who are tuning in today. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you're watching from. I love all the interaction. Again, thanks so much from the bottom of my heart for all of the continued love and support of the show by watching, tagging, sharing the links on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere else. Comments all day long, private messages. It's amazing. Comments on YouTube, comments on Facebook, private messages about how much you really are. You just love the atmosphere we create. The guests. I had Sam Cosman on the other night. He sent me this note telling me he's been interviewed like 30, 40 years. And he said it was the best interview he's ever had in his career. And I was really humbled for him to say that. Really a beautiful, beautiful thing. Hope you guys are doing well. Christine in North Carolina is here. Happy Friday to you, Jim and Lovities. Yes, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We invite you to do that, Jim Masters TV. Just click subscribe. Click on that notification bell so you don't miss any of the episodes of this show, but also we post other content on the channel. The second channel is just growing by leaps and bounds. We love that. Thanks for that plug, Christine. We love you as well. Willie is watching in the Netherlands, in Holland, where it is after 1 a.m. Hello, Jim. Did you have a nice day? Yes, beautiful day. Hot and humid here today along the coast, but a very busy day. Hope you had a wonderful day there and still have a wonderful evening as it is 1 a.m. where you are in the Netherlands. Hello, lovelies. Greetings from Holland, beautiful Holland. Merlin is here from Canada. Hi, Jim and all the lovelies. Hope you're doing well. You're having a good day as well. Merlin, Ann is here. Hello, Jim, from hot and humid Jacksonville, Florida. Good to see you. And somebody said there was an earthquake in northern Florida. I saw some posts about an earthquake in northern Florida. I know there was one in North Carolina. There was one in Michigan a couple of weeks back. It is crazy stuff what's going on. Derechos in Iowa, tropical storms. The world is crazy in 2020. Julian Hanna, good to see you. Hello, welcome. Nice to see you here on the show as well. And Crystal Nolan in Connecticut. Hi, Jim and everyone. Happy Friday. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Looking forward to a great show. Absolutely. Terrific show. Good conversations. Coming up in just a second with our guest, Bill Foster. Marilyn watching in Wichita, Kansas. Hi, Jim and all lovelies. Good to see you as well. Bernadette Waddell is here. Hello, Jim and lovelies everywhere. Good to see you as well. Mary Bishop, she is here. Good to see you, Mary, in Florida. We'll love having you here. Hi, everyone still at work. We'll catch up later. Absolutely. Thanks for checking in, Mary. We appreciate that. It's nice of you to do that. Hope everyone was doing well. It's a long weekend in the USA. Yes, Labor Day weekend. Hope everybody takes care of themselves. Tulips from Willie and in SoCal. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Watching in Southern California. And I hope you're having a terrific day and welcome to the show. We've got an amazing show in store for you. And Willie's got cheers. Whenever I toast with the glass, everybody toasts along with us. We really appreciate that. And Jennifer Barry is here as well. Good to see you, Jennifer. And we'll make you Zen. If you're not Zen, we will make you Zen by the time the show is done. Avril Britton is watching in Great Britain. In Europe. Thank you very much. It's good to see you, Avril. How are you doing? I hope you're having a great day. We have an amazing show in store for you today. Anne is doing cheers. Kathy Short is with us. Good evening, Jim, and all the lovelies from Cleveland, Ohio watching. We appreciate that. Again, we've got an amazing audience here from all around. Chris Joseph, music. Hello, Jimbo, and all lovelies watching from Ohio as well. Our viewer of the week. Good to see you as well. Thank you very much, Ann. We love you too. Absolutely. And Christine is here and she's saying cheers and love and all kinds of cool stuff. Well, that's great. It's nice to see everybody and all the fantastic folks who are watching, all the lovities, as everybody calls everybody, which I think is a cool idea. We could use a little bit more of that in this world right now, right? Our amazing guest is Bill Foster. He's an incredible actor, writer, producer, but again, he has a wonderful, illustrious career in education, and he and his wife about 3 years ago opened up a phenomenal winery, wonderful vineyard they have in Texas, and they're doing blazingly beautiful. And just showing you a couple quick pictures. We're going to go over all of this with our very, very special guest, Bill Foster. He is a lover of Westerns too, and he's working on some extraordinary projects that we are going to be talking about and sharing with you here on the show, which we're very, very excited about. And we're honored that he's taking time. You know, it's a busy time where he is right now, especially with the winery, the vineyard. So we're really excited to have him here on the show to talk about all these different things that he's involved in, an illustrious career. So let's welcome him to the Jim Masters Show live right now. Our very special guest, live and direct from Texas, USA, actor, writer, producer, Bill Foster. Bill, welcome to the show. It is an honor and a pleasure to have you here, and I hope you're doing well, my friend. Good evening.
Well, thank you for having me. I don't know if I can live up to that intro or not, but we'll try.
That's it. Passed all the tests. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I'm really fascinated. You're really. I've always found myself, and I had these conversations with some guests over the years that, been trained to be like a utility man, a utility person, where you really can do a lot of different things in life, and you can appreciate a lot of different things, and you tap into different skill sets. You obviously have done that and continue to do that, starting even early on with this incredible career, in the educational system, superintendent, and so much more. Tell us about that and how you got into that world first, which then led into the world of entertainment.
Okay. Yeah, I graduated way back in 1980 from high school, and I was raised on a farm, and I really wanted to stay on the farm, but there was no way I could make a living on the farm, so I had to do something. And so I was one of the first members of my family to actually complete college. We had a lot of starters, but not a lot of finishers. And once I got in, I was majoring in agriculture. I said, really, the only way I could make a living is teaching vocational agriculture. And I crammed 4 years into 3 because I paid my own way through college. And I said, man, I've got to get out of here and be able to make a living. So I graduated in 3 years and worked. I always said there's not a job too nasty or too dirty for me to take as long as it pays. And man, I worked on a dairy, scooping, you know what, I did everything. Worked on a poultry center, gathering eggs, just to get that college education. Got married along the way right before I graduated, my darling wife, Linda, and then started teaching. And and along the way, I got a minor in biology too. So I taught some biology. I taught mostly agricultural vocational classes, which I think is so important. I actually later in life served on some state committees for vocational and got some things changed in the state of Texas. But then taught for 7 years, and I like to say I nearly starved to death, but yeah. Really that's what happened. And so I went to the other side of the desk, as I say, got my master's degree and became a principal. And I was a principal for 15 years. In fact, in 2000, I was a finalist for Principal of the Year in the state of Texas for elementary principals. And I think there was 20 of us as finalists. And then I went over to the other side of the office again and became a superintendent. And that was, to me, the most rewarding job because it's kind of directing the movie. Nobody sees you. Yeah, they know who the superintendent is. But when that kid or that teacher or that principal has the money to do what they want to do, it's because you, as a superintendent, found the money and gave it to them and let them do their job. And that's always, I felt my job is let the teachers do their job because there's so many good ones. And so let the principals do their job. And so that's what I tried to do. I tried to stay in the background as superintendent. Of course, I had to lead the district and all that kind of good stuff. But I tried to make sure everybody had what they had to teach. And, it goes into acting. I shocked a lot of people when I paid the theater teacher the same amount as I paid coaches. That was like, you can't do that. And she had basically the same budget. And then I paid the vocational teachers the same thing as the coaches. And they're like, you can't do that. I said, yes, I can, because we got to put our importance on certain things. And so we gave a lot more scholarships away to band, choir, vocational, theater, all of that than we did athletics. And don't get me wrong, I love athletics. I did radio for play-by-play for our school for years. Football, I've done play-by-play with basketball, and the worst was doing play-by-play volleyball. The ball went up and now it's down.
Yeah, then the guy spiked it or she spiked it, whoever spiked it. Yeah. That's about it, right?
But I love athletics, but again, it's got to have its place, and not every kid can excel in athletics. And so you have that theater kid that really saw a lot of theater kids that's so bashful during the day, and put them on stage and they become this glorious actor. And then when they walked off stage, they came back into their shell. And vocational, you had kids, they would build these amazing trailers. And when I was teaching ag, I had to keep, what are you doing in my class? You're supposed to be in English right now. Oh, I just want to come out here and work on something in the shop. Yeah. Does your English teacher know where you are? Well, I don't know. I just want to work on something. And so I'd have to go back to class. They were always coming out the shop doing work. But I had a lot of fun. And when I was working, and I told teachers and principals and everybody, it's got to be a fun place. Make it fun for the kids. Yes, you have to discipline. There's always that 10%. I always said the rule of 10%, and that was my job as an administrator, is make sure those kids, that 10%, behave themselves. But let's have fun. Let's make it a positive experience from the kindergarten through 12th grade.
That's
And
right.
I felt like I did that. And one day, 30 years is full retirement in Texas. And one day somebody came in and said, "How many years do you have?" And I said, "Oh, 31." And I
So
put the, I was like,
past the normal limit. Yeah.
yeah, I thought, you know what? I could walk out of the office right now, but I wasn't ready. And so I put 2 more years in, but I started planning at that very day. I started planning for retirement, and so I retired 2 years later. And little did I know what retirement was going to bring.
Well, because you spent all those years fostering a great education for your students.
Yeah, and too, the reason I'm having so much fun now is because when you're a principal or a superintendent, it's 24/7. You don't ever get days off. Even when you're going on vacation, they're still calling you. So it's a 24/7 job, and you don't ever have that relaxation time. Yes, you take Saturdays and Sundays and holidays. You think, okay, just as you go to sleep, say 2 a.m, the police call and somebody's been playing on a school bus and left the lights on. And you're just like, okay, yes, you've got people that can go turn the lights off, but I'm not going to at 2 a.m. call my transportation person and say, "I'm awake. You need to be awake. You go turn the lights off." I would just call them in the morning and call them in the office and say, "Hey, I turned the lights off again for you last night," or whatever. So you never could get away from it. And we had some issues going on the last summer I was there. I was on vacation, talked on the phone the whole time I was on vacation. And my wife said, "This is ridiculous." I said, that's when I told her, I said, "I'm done. I'm retiring.
Yeah.
Come December, I'm retiring. I'm through."
Well,
I
look,
want to do something.
you could have had another opportunity, because Ann Wozniak says, "Thank you, Bill. Retired after 35 years in education. Would have loved to have had you as superintendent of the 2 school districts that she worked in."
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
That's nice. So, but while you were working in education, you and I were chatting before you went live. You were helping, like you said, the theater programs and students who wanted to pursue that as well, and sort of help, foster, pun intended, their desire to pursue that as well while you were there, right?
Yes, me and my wife and I, we were theater contest managers certified through the state. And we did it years before there was a certification. And I did it years before they even started paying us. We just did it. And so then we got into really helping these kids and putting on the contest for them. And there's tons of rules. I told the principal one time, I said, you see the football rules? Take the Sears and Roebuck catalog. These are theater rules. And you had to know them from front to back. I mean, that things could only be so tall and so wide, and props and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, we learned a lot, and hopefully help those kids along and try to make it a fair contest. That was always the thing I said, was I want everything to be fair on the playing field. And so we always tried to make it that way. And my son grew up, and he went in the theater, and he went on to be a theater major in college, ended up with a theater scholarship, and went to New York and worked 5 years. He started out trying to get into theater, excuse me, and he realized as an actor he couldn't, because he had to work, and he couldn't afford a coach, acting coach and all that. So he went back to school and got his hair and cosmetology degree, and did some work backstage on hair and makeup on Broadway. And then, of course, as in the movie business, as in theater, as soon as that show's over with, you're unemployed till the next one. So he couldn't do the unemployment employed type deal. He had work for a living, and so he actually started cutting hair, and now he moved up in the manager position, and he's managing a salon in Denver right now. So it really launched his career. Even though he's not in the theater right now, he's into that part that he went into, the hair and makeup. And then also he's also launching his marketing program, which he learned through the theater process of marketing theater. And so it's really set him up, which I know it set other kids up. And I had a college local said, if you got anybody that wants to sing in the choir, we could give them a full ride scholarship. So we were always pushing, even choir, even though we didn't offer it in school. If you had a kid that could sing, I was always saying, hey, go to this college, you get a full ride. And so, then we got all that, and then I retired. And like I said, it's kind of paying off now as far as that goes.
And Christopher Joseph in Ohio says, what a neat career as a mentor and an actor as well. Tell us, while you were, in the educational field, were you yourself toying with acting? Did you do extra work, or did all of that really come for you after you said, okay, we've done this 32-year career, we're going to hang that up. It was a great career, proud of that. Now we're going to get into some things that you like to do and explore a little bit. How did the acting bug sort of bite you that led to the writing and directing and everything else?
In second grade, the teacher was going around the classroom and was asking each child what they want to do when they grew up. And I was going to tell them an actor, because John Wayne, Elvis Presley were my heroes. And I had a burr haircut, and I tried to comb my hair like Elvis and all that back in the 60s. And the girl next to me said she wanted to be an actress.
Could you do the lip thing like Elvis?
No, not too good. It's kid violence hair now.
I was able to do that for some reason. I don't know how to do it.
And this girl said she wanted to be an actress, and everybody laughed at her. And I was like, I don't want everybody laughing at me. So I said, I made up something. But, I even liked acting back then. But then it goes by the wayside. I didn't think about it a long time. I loved the theater. But then when I retired, I was just sitting on Facebook one night and saw an advertisement for an open casting call for The Sun. I knew it was a Western. I thought, man, if I'm really lucky, I can go down there, and if I get picked, I can walk down the Western Street, and I'd be so happy. I went down there and stood in line with 1,500 people in Austin, Texas. And I got picked to be not only an extra, but a featured extra recurring character, which means you're doing everything the main stars are doing, except you don't have lines. First rattle out of the bat, I got to work with Pierce Brosnan side by side. I got to work with James Park side by side. Really learned a lot from those guys, and talked to them briefly. Pierce Brosnan would just come out and visit with us. He's an amazing guy. And after one scene, he actually shook my hand and said, "Good job, chap." And I was like, "Did anybody get a picture of that?"
Let's freeze frame that one, right?
Yeah, that's right. And then it just kind of went on a run. Seemed like every time I'd apply for an extra job, I would get it, and then I'd be a featured extra, Alita Battle Angel. I got like 3 seconds on the big screen by myself, and then Christoph Waltz walks in and looks at me. I'm the drunk laying there on the street when Christoph Waltz is walking down the street. He stops and looks at me and then keeps going. That's me. Like I said, probably 10 million people have seen me, but nobody knows who I am. And I did a lot of independence along the way, trying to hone my skills as an extra, because your extra is a skill of its own. And then I got cast to be in Ballad of Buster Scruggs with the Coen brothers. Amazing to work for. I learned so much from them. I don't know about you, but I used to have a brother, and if he and I tried to do a movie together, we'd have 3 fist fights in one day. Those two guys worked so good together, and I learned so much from them about setting the stage. And then saw the story when they played it out on Netflix. Really pleased. Got some really good camera time there. And then I was writing along the way. I was writing before I retired because I really enjoyed it. And then as soon as I retired, I published my first novel, Showdown on the Guadalupe. And then I took this movie I'm working on now, Showdown on the Brazos, and just started it, just a few scenes here and there, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Didn't mean to name it Showdown on the Brazos. I realized that was really too close to my novel, but it just stuck. I needed a title on it one day. I put a title on it, entered it in contest, and it won some awards, and so then it stuck.
And that's the thing that people don't realize, is that you are a prolific novelist as well. I mean, you've written several novels, right?
Yes, I've had one published. I probably have 4 or 5, on the hard drive right now. My wife challenged me to write one. All these novels had men as stars. Right. And my wife one day said, "Why don't you write one that's a woman as a star?"
There's that first one you're talking about.
That is my novel right there. Love the sunset. And what's amazing is people would pick. They say, "That's me in the front," and they say, "Oh, that's Stephen in right there, and that's Woodrow, and that's John in back." I love you made the picture. I said, "It's an artist rendition." I mean, that's they said, "No, it's not. That's really you. That's really
Yeah,
Woodrow. That's
that's the
John and Stephen." I was like, "No, it's not really. It's just." But that's a
without,
really neat book,
I was going
and
to
if
say, without giving it all away, can you give us a little teaser in case people want to
you
get the
bet.
book? What is that about?
You bet. That is just like the Greek stories about the reluctant hero. This story, Showdown on the Guadalupe, is about a man that's in the Confederate Army. He got home to the bag carpers had taken over his plantation, so he had nowhere to go. So he just goes to Texas to get away from everything. And being a man of education, they made him a school teacher, and he's happy. Nothing's going wrong. He's falling in love, fixing to get married. And then the Indians start raiding around the town where he's at, called Harmony Springs. And so being he's at the time, and this is historically correct, there was no law in Texas in 1867 because all of them had gone to fight in the Civil War. The cavalry has not come back to the Texas yet. The Texas Rangers had been disbanded due to the Civil War. So everybody's, whatever city could put a badge on somebody, that's the marshal they had. No matter what his background was, he may have been the biggest outlaw, but if he's willing to keep the law now, he's the sheriff. So in this book, he's had in town the only fighting experience in the war. So they elect him to go fight or find this Indian and his renegades called Saberhead. And the reason he's called Saberhead is he's got another name, Night Dove or something like that, which I did put the Indian language in the book. But when he's a cavalryman hit him in the head with a saber and cut part of his skin off his face. And it's got this face skin hanging down. So he's really ticked off. He goes through life mad. He hates everybody. And so he's very sadistic and he's killing. He loves to kill people. And so Elijah Bishop goes after him with 3 other cowboys and an Indian guide. And they go all over Texas in this cat and mouse game. Sometimes he's chasing Saberhead. Sometimes Saberhead's chasing him. And they end up on a showdown on the Guadalupe River. And the good thing about this book, I wrote it geographically correct. And I've had people tell me this. They said, "I know where you wrote that scene." And I said, "Oh, really?" And they think they do. And This is great. I don't know that it's really in the right place, but I did try to make it so descriptive on some places that they would think that they had found the place where I was writing about. And so it's got a really neat love story because, when he goes to find this Indian, he's fixing to get married. So he has to go off and leave his girlfriend. And back then the news didn't travel very fast and they had rumors. And so the rumor was that they got killed by the Indians and she refuses to believe that he's dead. And, because there's no email, she can't run into their cabin and say, type up the email. "Oh, he's down South Texas. He'll be right back." And so it's one of those. A friend of mine called me late one night and he's mad. I said, "John, what are you mad about?" And he said, "I started this darn book and I got to get up at 4 a.m. and I can't put it down." So,
how long did it take you to write it from start to finish? Was it a long process?
If it was because I would set it down and then pick it back up. But probably if I took out all the vacation time, when I say vacation time I wasn't writing, probably a year and then another year just to edit because my wife is an English teacher and she would edit it for me and she would go through the whole thing, which would take probably about a month, take me 2 months to go through it, changing everything that she saw that needed to be changed. Then she would read it again and change up things. And so it took probably another year just to get it just right. And so then I had it released in January of 2016. For the listeners, you can go to Amazon.com, look up my name or Showdown on the Guadalupe, and you'll find it there. It's there for purchase, and it's also on Kindle, so you can get it electronically. And another book that's there is the other book that's on the Amazon.com is not a novel. It's a screenplay called Windows Home. So it's a different read. It's if you like screenplays, because it's all dialogue. But we had a local community theater perform Windows Home in Brownwood, Texas, and they performed it 9 times and it had 9 standing ovations and not a dry eye in the audience. And it's about a Vietnam POW period piece again. And one night I didn't realize it, but there's actually a Vietnam POW alumni, I guess you could call, in the audience. And I found out later that he said we nailed it all the way through, and that just gave me chills going up my spine, because I had no idea they had such a royalty out there in the audience.
That's absolutely amazing. The other one that's really near and dear to your heart, which is very recent, is this one. Tell us about this one. And this one has an interesting meaning for the title, and I know it's one that speaks to you personally, having visited this particular river and paying homage to it in a way through the title itself. Tell us about this amazing project as well, Bill.
Showdown on the Brazos, you bet. And I grew up getting to fish on the Brazos, and that brought up so many good memories. And I actually filmed some of it where I used to go fishing.
And tell us where that river is for people not familiar.
It starts nearly in the panhandle of Texas and goes all the way down through Waco and down to the coast of Gulf of Mexico. And it's a really neat river. There's parts of it will just be a trickle, and then there's parts of it that you can get a steamboat down. So it really played a big role in the Texas history. And growing up there, if we were real lucky, my uncle would take us down fishing on his place on the Brazos River. So I was always real fond of this area. And like I said, I really didn't mean for it to sound exactly like my book, but I put it on there, then fell in love with it, and it stayed there. And this story is about two Texas Rangers, and very diverse on this one, because you see me there in the middle. I'm the main character, and my partner there is to my left, and Samuel. And my name is Ishmael Orion. He's Samuel O'Reilly, and I'm his mentor in prior before the movie. In fact, the backstory, not people can figure it out because it's not written anywhere, but the backstory is supposedly Samuel's family was killed by the Comanche Indians, and as Texas Ranger, that part I play, I find him and then raise him up, and he becomes a Texas Ranger with me. And so we go through life as these lifelong friends, and then one day this bad outlaw named Nate Jones kills my wife and two daughters because I'm a Texas Ranger, and they shoot me twice in the back and leave me for dead. Well, Samuel happens to come upon me and finds me and saves me and brings me back to life. And I become a hermit. My character does. I become a hermit. I don't want to see anybody. It's my lifelong mission because my family got killed because I was a Texas Ranger. I'm just going to stay on this farm, not see anybody, and do all that. One day, Samuel shows up, and he's got a commission from the governor to be a Texas Ranger again. I'm just like, not going to do it. Not going to do it. And he said, well, let's just go after Nate Jones and his gang, the very outlaws that killed your wife and kids. And I'm still not going to do it. And then over time, I changed my mind. And so now justice and vengeance are going to ride the same horse. And so Nate Jones has taken over the town of Brazos. And so Samuel and we decided to go down there and take out Nate Jones and his group. And so you see some pictures there, some of the outlaws. And we've been filming this for a couple of years and had a few setbacks along the way, but finally got cleared to shoot the last 3 days next weekend. And my wife and I and our first assistant director have been working heads and tails getting ready. Because when you're a small production company like we are, you're furnishing costumes, the props, and all the legal forms. We do have legal staff, but we're getting all that together. Hopefully that's going to change in the future where we can let somebody else do that. But right now, getting started out. But, it won't be long till we are meeting with some distribution and get this thing out. But if you want to see our trailer, you can go to YouTube. It's an award-winning trailer. Just go in there and Google Showdown on the Brazos and watch our trailer. It's 59 seconds long. And we originally put out coming out in 2019, but that didn't happen. There's a few and it's a story in itself. First thing, the person that got me involved with the cameraman, my cameraman started out, he's just 21. His mother passed away. She's the one that put me in contact with her son. So we had to take off a month or two. And then we got back to filming, and I was riding my horse on set, and he slipped, fell, and broke my leg. And I went ahead and directed and acted the rest of that day and all of the next day, 12 hours on a broken leg, and then had to take off 6 weeks, So and then the editing starts. That's the part they don't tell you how long editing takes. And so we got it edited, and that's a picture from Perdition there, but that's a really fun movie to do. There's Larry and I, and that's our first movie poster. But anyway, the editing starts. We get it completely edited and believe, okay, we're through editing, and we watch it. And I get another editor involved, and he says he and I start going through there, and we feel like there's some more story to be told. And so I go home and write some more scenes. We schedule 3 weekends to film the first 2, and boom, COVID hits the second time, shuts us down. And so that was in July. And now finally we got cleared to shoot the last 3 days in Blanco, Texas, which is next weekend. Then we got some limits. We're having to really work overtime on COVID to make sure we follow all the rules there. We're limited to 100 on set. And you'd think 100, if we didn't limit to 100, we'd have 150 people there. This thing started off with 4 or 5 actors. Believe it or not, 4 or 5 actors. We're going to max over 300 by the time it's all over with. So it has surpassed me. It's won a lot of awards, and I can't wait for it to come out.
So when you are involved in these productions, and we want to show some more incredible photos here, but do you have a love for the acting or the directing, producing? Are you leaning more towards one or the other? Do you like creating these projects and coming up with these incredible stories more as sort of like the screenwriter or the producer director, or do you also love the acting part of it as well?
Well, I love acting. Don't get me wrong. I love it. And it's probably a 60-40 love right now. The 40% is acting, and there you see is me as a director. But 60% as the director, because as an actor, you paint one little part of that picture. As a director, you paint the entire picture. And, you're going to get more famous to become a famous actor. You're going to be more famous. But as a director, I think you influence more. That's a good shot I had on the sun there. On the TV show, but had a blast. Just try to learn all that. But yeah, directing I think is my love right now. And the neat part about that picture right there, Perdition, I had to have an accent for that. I had to be an educated countryman, and so it's like I had to talk very educated and smoke the cigar and ride the horse and do all this, and that's called Perdition. And I was able to meet this great director on set, and he is now one of my main editors and going to be one of our team members from now on. So his name's Paul Foster, Secondhand Productions. No relation. He just happened to have the same last name.
Wow. There's that other shot that's cool. This is a great one.
Yeah. My wife actually took that picture and see how long my hair and beard were. That's when I was on Fear the Walking Dead, and they wouldn't let me shave. I mean, I keep a beard, but wouldn't let me trim my beard or hair.
I bet your son was probably dying to get a hold of you there and trim you up. Hey, Dad, come a little west and come.
That's right. We had a lot of fun. In fact, my whole family went to the barbershop when I went to watch it trim off and see how much hair fell off on the floor.
Yeah. There's another production. This here, you were involved in this?
This is my first movie that I'm just totally the director. I wrote it, produced it, and directed it, and I did nothing but direct. I did not act in it. And the neat thing about this movie is every actor in front of the camera is a military veteran, and hence the name of the title, I've Got Your Sixth. This started out as I never had written it down, but in my mind was an essay. And then over the last couple of years, went from that essay to a script and screenplay, and then I produced it, and it's an 18.5-minute long short. And the basis of this story is there's a World War II veteran in a nursing home reading a newspaper, and they call his old farm worthless land because a shopping center is fixing to be built. Well, he wants to go see this farm one last time, and so he escapes from the nursing home and goes and finds his farm, and he's just sitting on the side of the road looking at his farm. And the person who finds him, the deputy who finds him, is an Iraq war veteran, and you can see them build a bond. At first he's like, "Get my car, we got to go back to the nursing home," but through their conversation, the old man and the young man developed this bond that's unbreakable. And the sheriff or captain, he keeps telling him, bring the man in, and he refuses because the sheriff's not a veteran, and he refuses because they're both veterans and share that bond. And he's like, "Mister, you can stay here all day long as you want. We got you back. We got your six." And I don't know about there, but in Texas, everybody's got a scanner, and they listen to all the police. Now you can do it on Facebook. But anyway, the veterans in the town are hearing this argument between the deputy and the sheriff, and they decide they're going to go take care and have this old man six. And so it's a very inspiring movie. It's a very motivating movie. And we had a private viewing, the first time it's ever had any viewing the other night. And we had probably 12 people there, all involved in the movie. And I hate to say it, but they were all boohooing. They couldn't even talk when it got through. And that yes, we want to be emotional in a movie. And that told me, yes, I was very, really accomplished the emotional part of it. But that wasn't my point as far as making people cry. It was to show that when soldiers feel like they're lonely and feel like they're alone and don't know where to turn, they've got a whole bunch of veterans that's got their back, and they've got their six. And so it turned out beautiful. Evan Evans, I don't know if you ever heard of Bill Evans, the jazz pianist.
Yeah.
His son Evan is my composer, and the music is just amazing. And he's also doing Showdown. In fact, he started on Showdown, and I asked him if he could do this one too, and he did. And he spent the night with us the other night. We've got a lifelong relationship now. It's amazing what God has put in front of us, because, I had all these musicians, emailing me wanting to be the composer for Showdown. And so I started interviewing them. And when I interviewed Evan, first sentence out of his mouth, I was like, I'm done. This is the guy. There was something there that I can't explain. I can't, because the music was good on all of them. But when and before I knew who his dad was, we hit it off, and I was like, okay, this is the guy. This is the guy we're going to use. And oh my goodness, the music is so beautiful. It's a journey of its own. Just going through the music is a journey of its own. And so, music can set such an emotional tone to a movie, and he has done an amazing job with it.
Oh yeah, there's movies sometimes where the soundtrack is the thing they think of first.
Exactly.
And then the content of the movie. Think about the amazing movies, and you can hum the soundtracks, TV show themes that they don't. Sometimes today you can't really think of it. I don't know if you can really think of a TV show right now that's airing, that's new, where you can actually think of the theme, because everything is so short. It goes and they go right into the scene. Years ago, the TV themes, they would roll the credits, they would show scenes in the beginning building up to the show, and you'd be able to hum that TV show theme, knowing what you were going to be seeing coming up next. Movies the same way. The music has to really come in at those certain pivotal moments and can really, wash people off their feet. It can really enhance a scene. That's exciting. As a creator myself, and I've done editing and documentaries and shows and stuff, I fully get what you're talking about. There's something absolutely extraordinary. It could be debilitating, it could be annoying, frustrating, and unreal, but it also can be, and time consuming, but it also could be extraordinarily exhilarating and almost breathtaking when you are there building the actual production, when you're doing the editing and adding in the music and the dissolves and the fades, and you're like, and then you see it when it's finished, you're like, wow. I mean, it really can take your breath away, but the whole process is extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. You said it right. It takes your breath away. He'd send me a sample, and I said, I just can't get any better. And then he'd send me another sample. I said, okay, it just got better. But it's really a journey when you start on these projects and you get the editing done. And, I was very moved at the end of my movie, not necessarily because I knew what the ending was going to be like, but I was so moved because we're finally done. Even though it's 18 and a half minutes, it took over a year to get this thing done. And, now that's not a year of steadily work. If I had a full-time crew and all that, we could have knocked her out. But, using different people and things like that, it's amazing. And I told Evan, when we first started Showdown, you mentioned it a while ago, I wanted the music to be remembered as much as the movie. And I think on sixes, and so I know he'll do it on Showdown, people will walk away humming that music. And I'll try to send you a little sample at the end after the show so you can hear it, because it is. And what's funny is my wife and his wife had the same reaction on the very first clip of music. They said, why is it so sad? But see, Evan and I looked at it as like, to me, it's a journey music. It's not a sad a sad song. It's a journalistic type, you're on a journey. And it's funny, the men saw it one way and the women saw it another. And it's the same musical notes. And so I can't say enough. I told Evan when he got through, I said, this is soundtrack worthy. I wish we could have entered it in our film festival in Arizona, because we've got John Clayton Reed sings a song in the bar in there, and it was nominated for best song on a short. We had 5 nominations in Arizona. We're going to fly. We're going to drive out there in October and go hopefully bring home 5 trophies. But we're nominated for best short, modern day Western short. We're nominated for best actor, best supporting actor, best song, and best director.
That is amazing. Jennifer Barry asks, do you watch the movies in full after, I guess, either you've acted in them or directed them, put them together? Some people do, some don't, especially when you're acting in them. Will you watch them after, or do you move on?
Now, the ones I've been extras in, when they first came out, man, I was glued to the screen. And I screamed like a little schoolgirl on Fear the Walking Dead when I got a solo shot. But then I've got all our little ones that I'm in. When I say little, I may just not be such a big character or whatever.
Yeah.
Forget their own or whatever. But as far as like my movies, I do watch them because I'm working with the editor, and I'll be as hard on myself as I am anybody. That scene was terrible. We're not going to put me in there for that one, or we'll take another cut or something like that. So yeah, and it's amazing. You do remove yourself as a director. You start watching the movie. I forget. This may sound stupid or silly, but I forget it's me when I'm watching the movie, because I'm so focused on trying to make sure the lines and the lighting and the sounds are all right and the acting is good. And I'm not near as I sound different on camera, on TV, on the movie, and I don't try to characterize my voice in any way or change it anyway. It just comes out a little different. Like I said, some shots I'm like, we're not using that one, but then there's some I'm like, wow, that's pretty doggone good. I don't know who that guy was in the ugly beard, but
But it's funny that you say that, because I've had those conversations on this show too, and I do the same thing. Like, I'll watch it, if it's something I've done on television or what have you. If I know it's going to air and they're going to show it or what have you, I'll watch it. But I'll watch it removing myself from it. I have to remove myself from it. And I also have to remove the emotional investment I made while doing it, because when you're doing it, you're all on, you're all in, you're in the zone, the adrenaline is really going, all the cylinders are firing, and you're striving for perfection and excellence and all these different nuances and things happening that you got to get right on camera and behind the scenes. So when something I either hear or appears that I've been in, hosted, acted in, whatever it is, sometimes I'll have, if people, family, whatever is around, or friends, I'll say, and we watch this when this comes on at 8:00 or whatever, pretend you don't know me. And would you be convinced by what I was doing and how I was responding and how I was acting or performing or hosting, whatever, interviewing, whatever it may be? Would you be persuaded by that, influenced by that? So usually also right away, immediately after I do something performance-wise, I usually don't like it right away, because I'm thinking about all the different things all at once that are running through your head. So I have to be emotionally removed from it. And now I can pull out tapes of things I did 15 years ago, watch it. 15 years ago, everybody was saying, wow, you were awesome, spot on, that was brilliant, you nailed it. I heard that, but it didn't totally sink in because it had to meet my expectation. But now I can watch the stuff I did 15 years ago, 20 years, or whatever it is, and appreciate it, because the emotion of the immediacy of that emotion has worn off. So now I can watch it, as a viewer would watch it. So I do like you, I detach me from it and try to watch it as the public would see it. As I'm looking at camera angles and lighting, and if the tie is crooked or other things I could also do to fine tune and things of that nature. It sounds like we're very similar in that way.
Yeah. And I think about, man, if I just had the shade to kind of knock that glare off a little bit. But I tell you what I also have fun doing is we had the company over the other night. I put on Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and a lot of them had not seen. They had seen it, but hadn't seen me in it. And so when I showed them me, it's like, oh, you were out there the whole time. And but I enjoyed saying, okay, this is what was going on. The temperature in the room was this. This guy was a lot of fun to work with. This guy was crazy. This guy did this. This lady did this. And really, I enjoyed the teaching part of showing how much it took to shoot that 4 minutes. 4 days is actually about what we ended up with.
Somebody had a question here too, which was kind of cool. Let's see. This was from Christine. She says, Bill, in your career with writing and directing, is your focus and interest mainly in creating Western films and novels, Western themes?
Yeah, that's my number one focus, but I do have some period pieces that we're going to work on after my next Western. I've got one that, When It's Home, I talk about a play. It's set in the 1960s, and I want to expand on that, try to turn that into a movie. It's set, and I try to focus on not only the soldier going off to war in Vietnam, but also focus on what was going on at home, because they fight their battle too. Now, it's not so much life and death, but it's a real tough struggle for that family to keep the bond there when the soldier's gone, and then the emotions of him leaving or her leaving and things like that. So I really wanted to expand on that. And then I've got a couple more ideas of modern day thriller. And then I've got a period piece that could be really set anywhere from the 20s to the 50s, because I love the cars and the suits and the clothes of those times. But of a forbidden love, it's going to be set in Louisiana, and a sharecropper, which my grandfather was a sharecropper, so I'm actually a grandson of a sharecropper. The sharecropper's son falls in love with the plantation owner and his daughter. And of course, that's not supposed to happen, and so it causes some turmoil, and they actually grow up together. And just think about driving one of those 1940s cars down the road in the swamps of Louisiana. You got all that swamps on both sides, and the music and the Creole sound and the swamp sounds going on. We're going to have a lot of fun filming that, because that's what I picture in my mind. Then delivering that is a different story, but it happens somehow.
Somehow it happens. There's another, in a minute, we're going to talk about, for folks watching, you might not realize, as I mentioned in the introduction, he and his wife also own this fantastic vineyard and winery there in Texas as well. And there is this project that is also playing off the name. Tell us about this one here.
I heard the quail whistle, and that actually is mistitled. That was a first run at Showdown on the Brazos, and we reshot that scene. But I love that picture, so that's why I put it up there.
That's fantastic.
That's actually my horse, and I'm visiting my wife's grave. We actually reshot that whole thing.
That's a beautiful horse.
Thank you. And that's the one that fell on me and broke my leg, but it was not his fault. He just slipped and fell. And so, yeah, he's a great horse. His name's Tank, Tank. But, the quail whistle was my next movie. Is I heard the quail whistle, and I'd written this manuscript, and I entered it in a Cisco Writers Club contest, and I needed a title for it, and I could not think of a good title for it. And I was out 3 days before the contest. I had to get it in. I was outside feeding the horses, and it was in summertime, and it's sun setting and hot. Then I heard a bobwhite quail whistling in the background. And those that don't know what it sounds, it's kind of like that sound, really beautiful sound. And I said, there's my title. I heard a quail whistle. I ran into my office, typed in the new title, changed some scenes so it'd have quail in it, and it won Best Fiction and Best Overall Book. And so we took everything from that: Quail Whistle Vineyards, Quail Whistle Production, and like I said, next year we're going to have I Heard the Quail Whistle movie, hopefully start filming in the spring sometime.
That's fantastic. Tell us a little bit about what that'll be about, so people can get understanding.
My wife challenged me to write this story because, I told you I wrote 4 or 5 novels with men was always a hero. And she said, why don't you write one where a woman is the hero? So I did. And I couldn't turn down a challenge from my wife. And so I wrote this novel where it's an immigrant back in the 1880s. The families are immigrating from Ireland, and they're going on the promise of free land in Nebraska. And to make a long story short, she goes through a lot of changes in her life. What was very happy homestead's going to be, the dreams of building this farm in Nebraska suddenly are all dashed away, and she goes from a loving housewife to a victim, and then she turns around and becomes a vigilante. And so, and it's really my dedication to the women of that time period and to that all the way up to this point, because back in there they didn't even have the right to vote. They couldn't even speak out in public, and so they really had a kind of a diminished role. But what people don't realize is when the husband was out working in the fields or herding cattle or whatever, they were back home raising all those kids, feeding those kids, bathing those kids, doing the laundry, and then they would feed the hogs, milk the cows, do all those chores.
Yeah.
And then when they got through with that in the morning, they would leave all that and go to the fields and work, come in probably about 11 o'clock. And it wasn't bologna sandwiches they fixed for lunch. And I know this for a fact because my grandmother was this way. Fix a big full course meal for lunch. The men would come in, eat, and then they would leave. They would clean up, do all the dishes, and then they would go to the field again and then come back about 5 o'clock and do all these chores and get the kids ready for supper and bed.
So they're like unsung heroes. Yeah.
They were.
And during the war, they were in the factories, building parts and doing all the different, Yeah,
if you take the city life, the husband would go to the factory and my wife was still doing the same things back at home, raising those kids, laundry, cooking, doing all that, keeping the family together. And so this book's kind of a dedication to them, but she goes through this emotional roller coaster. And I've had some people read it's like, oh my gosh, that poor lady. But, there is a love story involved in it. In fact, there's 2 love stories, a beginning and the end. And like I said, she let's put it this way, she accidentally comes upon one of the ones that had left her for dead, and she kills them, made her feel good. So she becomes a vigilante, and that's kind of the story in a nutshell. So hopefully, there's going to be 2 A-listers that's going to be employed in this, and it's going to be the Sage Cooper, the marshal, and Molly O'Connor, the main lady of the whole story.
That is incredible. And you probably even have more stories in your head, whether they're novels or movies. I mean, you're really on a roll, huh? Are you an observer of life? Are you always like observing things and then you get inspired and just sort of write it down quick when you get like quick inspiration so you don't lose that idea or that thought?
That happens a lot. I'm like, what would happen in this situation? In the modern day movie, it's loosely going to be based on, I go to Mexico every spring fishing, and we're a great group of guys. I mean, we have a blast. What would happen if we can't go home? What would happen if suddenly we're kidnapped and we can't get home? And so just that one little thought turns in this big movie. It's going to be called Last Night in Mexico. And so that's on the horizon. And I've got the outline written for it, but I don't have the movie. But, that will come. And, it's little things like you said, just life in general. You're like, what would happen if, and it's really hard to write sometimes because you think this cowboy's going to ride off the mountain with his horse and go down in the valley. Well, you don't want to say he gets on his horse and rides down the hill in the valley. That's pretty boring. But by the time you add all that in there, you've got 10 pages, and you're wore out by the end of the day. I've got my son challenged me to write a Hallmark movie that we could pitch to Hallmark. So
wait, hold on, everybody, pause. Did you hear what he said? He said a Hallmark movie. Where's Renee from Iowa? This crowd loves the Hallmark movies, and we've had some folks on who are in them. Hallmark, Lifetime, all those different movies. So you've been pitching Hallmark movie.
I'm going to, yes. I'm going to. And I sent the script to my son. He said, "It's only been 4 days. You've already written 25 pages. How do you do that?" And I was like, I just kind of had a roll there. But it's going to be called Christmas in the Rockies, and it's a very feel good type movie. And of course, it's you got to build up that crescendo and then jerk the rug out from under them, and then you have the Christmas miracle that comes in, and it's based on the old West days, and that's one of those ones that just flowed. I mean, it's like 30 pages long, but even though that's a short, is considered a short, it wouldn't take much to get the full feature. 50 pages, what's required is to be a full feature. But with all the beautiful scenery, the Rockies and the snow and everything, and the cattle, and it wouldn't be hard to make an hour and a half, 2 hour movie out of it for sure.
We're getting a lot of nice comments here. Really enjoying tonight's show. Love the stories. That's Ann Wozniak, Christopher Joseph, Bill Foster. You're perfect for Hallmark.
Thank you.
Ernestine just joined us from North Carolina. She's excited to be here. Jennifer Barry, awesome, Bill. Go for it. Thank you for sharing your life experiences and ideas with us. Lovities. Jennifer says, I'm having fun tonight. Is Ibra Wine says hi. Wow, that's fantastic.
I like the last name.
Huh?
I like the last name, Wine.
Yeah, that's really right. That's really cool. So speaking of that, again, you have all of these brilliant things. And again, we're going back to being in the educational fields, principal, superintendent, having 32 years, in the school system and having that under your belt, being an actor, being a producer, director, writer, screenplay writer as well, and getting involved in editing and all of these things, and writer as far as novels, movie maker, really versatile. What happens when they tell you, I want you to act in it, Bill Foster, but I want you to have a Boston accent and say, pack the car? Can you lose the Texas accent quickly, or would that take time? It's an awesome, authentic sound and accent, but can you do other voices and accents as well, or would you have to really work on that?
I would have to really work on that. I mean, the only accent I've ever done is that educated man, in tradition, and so I was educated, and my wife became overwhelmed by the scenery of it all and fell into the river. Have you seen her lately?
Yes.
And so that was one of the lines out of the movie, and that's about as much accent as I can do. The rest of them are just pretty dry, like you can tell the devil I said hello, something like that.
That would convince him. that would open a few doors. The other thing too that I think is very exciting, if all of this, I mean, you could have retired with the 32 years under your belt in the educational system and then said, I'm going to enjoy my retirement and live and go fishing and do the things I want to do. Very prolific in writing novels and acting and producing and making movies. But in addition, you and your wife have a beautiful vineyard and winery there in Texas. Tell us about that and this dream come true. And when I come down through Texas on a TV shoot or something, I'll definitely stop by and you can take me on a wine tasting or something. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, love to.
Oh, it would be great. Tell us about how this happened.
Yeah, it's crazy because before we ever put a vineyard in, we never drank wine. It was just cold beer and mixed drinks. And we were looking for a crop. We had 12 acres at the time, and 6 acres of it was very good soil. And we lived there at that place for 8 years, or 9 years, excuse me. And we were always looking for something to plant in that small area to make the return on the land. We had sheep and goats and horses, and we tried raising hay, and there was never really enough just to really on 6 acres to justify the amount of labor it would take to have the income. And so I was elk hunting in October of one year in Colorado, sitting around the campfire, and a dear friend of mine that had invited me on there, he starts telling me the story about his brother has a winery, and they did not have enough grapes to make the amount of wine he wanted to make. Ding, 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 ding went off. So I said, there's our small crop. So I started, and this was before the acting had started, but not like it is now. And so I started researching, and being raised on a farm and an agricultural degree, and look at the profit margin on it, it was like, man, if we can make this happen, this is really something. So I went back, and my wife really didn't think I was crazy. She thought it was a good idea, and we drilled a well on our place there, and the water was no good. I mean, it was not going to work. And she said, well, what's plan B? And I said, I don't have one. And she goes, well, find one. And so I got on the internet that night and found some property that had good water. And so we sold our place there, bought this other place. and actually lived in a tiny home on this vineyard while we're putting it in, 300 square foot for 18 months.
Wow.
But we planted 7 acres now total. We've harvested our first acre this August. This not all of our grapes are dry reds, but they're very high end grapes, varietals. We have Tannat, Mourvèdre, Petit Verdot, Suzal, and Alianico. And those are just not ones you find on the grocery store shelf.
No.
And our intention right now is to not mix them, because in the old school, you look back at these vines and these varietals in Italy and France, where they're coming from, and Portugal's where Suzal came from. They served them straight. They weren't mixed with anything. It was straight Mourvèdre, straight Petit Verdot, straight Tannat. And so that's what we plan on doing for the majority of it. And then if it goes well, which I think it will, we may expand even further. But anything bigger, we're going to have to hire full-time help. 7 acres, whew, along with everything else we do, it's a full-time job. And we do hire seasonal help. But if you get any bigger, you got to have full-time help. But we harvested our first crop. First crop's always real small because you got some plants that don't produce, some plants that produce a bunch. And we made 650 pounds. When our consultant said, you'll be lucky to make 200 pounds. We fooled him. We made 650 pounds, which is going to make about 100 bottles of wine. It's being fermented right now. Not enough to really sell wholesale, out there yet. We'll sell some, keep some for ourselves. And if everybody knows what they're going to get for Christmas presents, But
right, exactly, yeah.
But next year, instead of 650 pounds, we'll make 2 to 3 tons. So we'll make 4,000, 6,000 pounds next year. And then plus the Suzal will start coming on, and then 3 years later. So eventually we're going to make about 14,000 bottles of wine on just our 7 acres. And so, we're looking at, really being an author and all this and an entrepreneur, we're looking at putting a package together where you get a bottle of wine, a glass, and a book signed by the author and shipped to you. And so then what that does is you open it, you can have a glass of wine and a book and sit down in your chair and enjoy that and read a book and drink your wine. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. I think that
maybe even down the road or walk on roll.
There you go.
That's if you buy a couple of cases.
Yeah, we might find a place for you.
Jennifer says, Bill, your wine sounds delicious. Yeah, that's really because, I think generally, like you and I were talking before we went live on the air, people don't necessarily think of Texas necessarily for vineyards, wineries. They think more of the Napa or France or Italy or other areas, maybe Eastern Long Island or whatever it is. But what you have there is sort of very special and a treasure, huh? You're very lucky.
Yeah, it's we've got about the same climate as Italy and France, believe it or not. And down at Fredericksburg, which 2 hours south, there's vineyards and wineries everywhere down there. In fact, as soon as I walk in and say we have a vineyard, everybody wants to buy our grapes. Now I know why. Now there's a shortage of them, and it's like we just put them in the ground, 2 years ago, and they're already wanting to buy them. But we have the same climate. We got to be careful with what varietals we plant. Make sure they don't bloom too early, because we usually have a late frost here in Texas. In this part of Texas, we want them late blooming. We don't know why they're maturing earlier. Usually, like my Tannat should have only matured right now. Right now it should have been coming off. We picked them a month ago. The grapes are still just as good. The grapes are big like they're supposed to be. We don't know why. Without its temperature, everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah,
but the good thing is you don't have to learn all about the vineyard at once. When you first start, you learn about the babies, and then you learn the pruning, and then you learn the spray, and then all of a sudden you learn the harvest. So it's really, like my daughter said, you really get to see the fruits of your labor when you go out there and start harvesting those grapes.
I tell you, it's really amazing. I mean, when you look at all of this, early growing up in your youth, what were some of your sources of inspiration, your parents, your family, in terms of, when you look at the things you've accomplished and the things that you're doing now and the things you've done in your career and your life, do you see the early foundation and grounding and support and inspirations of the parents, grandparents, of the family early on that gave you this this enthusiasm, this passion, this drive to be resilient, to not give up, give in, and to want to, if you really think about it, the desire to have the vineyard and the winery is to please and create something. It's all creation. Everything you're doing is creation. Create something that provides pleasure for others. The being involved in the educational system was the same thing, being able to foster things in a way that will provide a benefit to students, to youth, to society. Same thing with the novels and the movie making. Once again, creating, providing enjoyment for others. So when you see it's all really tied together, this desire to want to provide pleasurable experiences and knowledge and wisdom for others, paying it forward. Do you see that as something that was fostered into you, Bill Foster, early on as a youth?
I hated being poor. You know, I grew up very, very poor. In fact, we lived in a house one time, did not have running water or an inside toilet. And so nobody can tell me, hey, anything was given to me, And so my grandmother really pushed education. She said, she went through the Great Depression where they lost everything. They lost nearly the shirts on their back. And she said, you get your education. That's one thing nobody will ever be able to take away from you. So I was bound and determined I was going to get a college education. And that way, nobody was able to take that away from me. And I wanted to be successful. And, when I came out in the 80s when industry was really shutting down. And so really the only viable job opportunities out there was teaching school and in agriculture, you go to vocational. And I taught that, like I said, for a while. Trying to give these kids a chance and opportunity because not everybody, I realized not everybody can go to college. I did, but not everybody's able to do that. My brother couldn't have done that, but he's a great welder. So we need to teach these kids how to be plumbers, welders, electricians, all the vocational skills to go out there and because your toilet stops up in the middle of the night, you're not going to look up and see who has a PhD before you call them. You want your toilet unstopped. You don't care what their education is. We got to have those people. And so that was a big influence on me trying to get those. And then when I was in school, personally, I was bullied a lot because I was always real little. I'm 6'5" now, but when I was growing up, I was little bitty and didn't start growing until I was probably a junior in high school and got picked on a lot. So when I became in the school as a principal and superintendent, I was going to make sure everybody had a fair chance. Nobody's going to have to suffer through anything like that and be able to enjoy their elementary, enjoy their junior high, and enjoy their high school career and look back and say, man, maybe they didn't know who made it that enjoyable, but I want to make sure that they had that enjoyment. And so, yes, growing up poor, my mother was so easygoing and loving. She passed away and she was only 50 years old. But, I was only 21, but she taught me so much. It was my job to get up in the morning. I'd go feed my pigs, then come back and make lunch for my dad. And this is all before daylight. And my mother would be cooking breakfast, and I'd be sitting there making lunch for my dad. And he was in construction. And we had so much talk, so many, early morning, 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock morning talks. There's no way I can write down everything that she taught me during that time. But, she's the one that really instilled in me you can do anything you want to, within limits, of course. I can't run a 900 no matter how much I work out. But I can be a success. I can do things and make sure they're right, or I can sit on my tail and not do anything and feel sorry for myself, and that's not going to be me. And so it's just a matter of picking yourself up because I've had a lot of setbacks in my life. You pick yourself up and you move on. And you talk about setback this summer, right in the middle of filming, right in the middle of the vineyard and everything, diagnosed with colon cancer. Wait a minute. This is how, no, I don't have time to be sick.
You were?
Yeah, I was back in June. But luckily I went in and they got it all right away. Everything's good. But it was just by the luck of a doctor and me following doctor's advice that we found it. And so I encourage anybody over 50, you've got to go to your doctor. You got to get those colonoscopies because
you have to, right?
He told me, he said, I don't know how many men are just like you. I'm 58 that would have put this off another year. And then they come in with a colostomy later on, because they waited too late.
If they even have that, some don't even make it the stage 4.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Done.
just lost a great actor due to colon cancer. And looking back, I had the symptoms, but I didn't know that's what they were. But I didn't even forgot to tell the doctor I was even having the symptoms, but just passed up. And he said, well, it's time for a check. And so I did a test. Nobody's doing colonoscopies in the COVID time. So I did a check, failed it, did another test, home test, failed it. And they got me in, did a colonoscopy, got it out. Right. It's just a cancerous polyp. But if I'd waited till next year, who knows where we'd been talking. So, very lucky in life. You've got to follow the advice of others, but enjoy life, because you don't know where it's going to take you. And you've got to be able to bounce back on those setbacks. And whether you lose your job on this COVID, make it a better job when you get ready to go back to work.
That's right. Seize this opportunity, because maybe this might be a time for change and doing things that you really want to do. Maybe before you weren't doing things that were speaking to your heart, but now this isn't a pause and an opportunity where maybe you can actually create something, build something, do something that reflects the essence of who you really are. Bill,
Exactly.
with all of this incredible experience, even like with the health scare, have you thought of writing a memoir, the story of your life with all these incredible experiences?
After I win my Emmy or Oscar, I will.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, said, where do you want to go with directing? And, I know I won't be
Especially
able to.
starting out poor on top of it. I mean, this is like a rags to riches sort of a situation.
Yeah, we're still waiting for some of that.
Still waiting for the riches.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that riches to come in. But yeah, they asked me, somebody asked me, what's your end goal? And of course, it wouldn't be an end goal, but it's what's your goal? And I said, to be in the same breath as Coen Brothers, John Ford, be able to walk across that stage or just be nominated to be in there, that would be the pinnacle. And of course, that would just make me work harder. But I really think if enough people see I've got your six, I really do think it's there, and it's good enough to win that Emmy right now. And it's my very first one.
Is that available to see now? Where would they see that?
Right now, we're getting ready to send it to distribution, and so it's not out for syndicate yet, and it's not out for public viewing.
Yeah.
And like I said, we get through here, I'll email you just some of the music off of it, and it is we capture time in a bottle. I don't know how to explain it. The military was so proud to be a part of it and had so much help. And me and my first editor, we worked for a year on this thing. And then I got the second editor in there, and he changed a few things, and just a different set of eyes, and
right.
being do what I would like. I'm trying to tell people what I see as vision, and we got that done. And Evan adds his music to it, and it's such an emotional movie that I had no idea it was going to turn out so emotional, but it did. And I just can't wait to show it and let the veterans see it across this America, great America.
Yeah, people are already excited about this. Willie Ann Holland is excited, and Kathy Short, and Jennifer says she's glad you're okay. She says when she broke her arm, she went in for a broken arm. They found thyroid throat cancer that spread. She had an operation, still in remission. Okay, so far we're strong warriors.
Yeah, we're all in the same class now, all cancer survivors, and there's nothing that will prepare you. You think you're prepared when you're like, okay, the doctor's going to call me and tell me I've got it. I'm prepared. And when he does call you and tell you, there's nothing that will prepare you at all. And so I was out in the vineyard working when the doctor called, and we just dropped our tools where we were. And my wife and I went out and ate, just try to get away from it all and just kind of think about it a while. And that was a long 2 weeks between diagnosing and finding out that got it all, because you go in for that colonoscopy, you don't know if you're going to come out and what they're going to tell you. Did we find a tumor? Did we find a polyp? What did we find? And I was very, very fortunate. We found it early, and so I just encourage everybody: if you got some kind of health issue, go to your doctor. Men, we're so dang hard headed. We're tough, we're gruff, we ain't going to the doctor.
What do they say? Well, it's like they say, we'll go and get our cars repaired and bring them to the mechanic first before going to the doctor when you're not feeling so well. If you hear a tick or a bang or a tinge or whatever in your engine, you're going to bring it right there and get that straightened out. But when it comes to our health, sometimes we don't follow through. I mean, which can be.
Mine, I had no symptoms, really did not know, I had symptoms, but didn't know that's what it was.
That was that, right?
And that was that. I would have kept going, and probably a month or two later, I would have probably went to the doctor and said, "Hey, something's not right." But who knows what it had been by that time. But if he hadn't told me, "Let's get her tested right then," I wouldn't have probably gone back to the doctor, especially with COVID going on. It'd probably been a year before I'd gone back to the doctor. So,
well, I also think that there was probably somebody or some entity looking out for you as well, and possibly maybe you're surrounded by a divine, especially when you see this image of you right now with the godly reflection over you.
Man, that's a little tricky.
There it is. And being the producer, he didn't set that up. That's happening on its own, folks.
Yeah, I'm a very religious man, and I'm not ashamed of being a religious man. And there's all different religions, and just everybody needs to have that faith and walk in whatever God they believe in. And I believe in mine. You can believe in yours. Whatever, that doesn't bother me. But everybody needs to walk in that faith. So everybody, how much better would America be right now if we just all love each other, accept the differences in each other? Yes, there's political warfare. We've been having political warfare since how far back George Washington they battled, and so they're going to do all that. And you may not agree with the other party, but accept what they believe in. But you're still going to believe in what you believe in. We have those good discussions, and then we go to voting poll. And the veterans have fought and died where we can go vote and voice our opinions, and then we live with the outcome. I haven't always been happy with the elections, whether it be anywhere from local to national. But you live with what you voted and you had your turn. And sometimes you're happy and sometimes you're not. But let's just love each other and enjoy life.
Time is short. Yeah, it's really amazing with that divine intervention reflection coming over you. Even that room, the way the ceiling is shaped with the point and everything, you almost look like you're a pastor giving a service. That looks like it's the inside of a church. The way it looks. How did that work out?
Well, we were living in that 300 square foot home out on our vineyard, and I told my wife, I said, if you don't kick my butt, I'm gonna stay right here, because I really loved living out there on the vineyard. I mean, I loved the tiny house. I loved everything about it, but I knew as a family man we needed to get a bigger house, and so we went to Steveville one day, and that's where I live now, Steveville, Texas, Central Texas. And we looked at all these houses, and every one of pre-owned homes, they were going to have to be remodeled. And so we're looking at the price of that, and I'm just like, man, we're just not finding the house we like. And we were looking at really nice houses too. And the realtor left, and my wife said, let me show you some houses we can't afford. And we found this house for the same price, brand new, that it was going to cost us to buy a pre-owned home and remodel. And this was an experiment. The builder, he just experimented with these beams to see if anybody liked it. And so they showed it around. They've been put them in a lot, but this is the first house he put these beams in. And so we walked in and said, okay, this is my office. It's in the back of the house. Here's my office. I script all my scripts laying everywhere. Props are laying everywhere. Costumes are in the closet. Well, they're out now. They're all in the living room, but got a closet full of props, costumes normally. Hopefully we don't have to do that again. But when you're an independent filmmaker, you're a costumer, you're a prop man, you're a director, but you do it all. But you know it all. I mean, you know a little bit about all of it. But this weekend, when we go down there and film, I'm only acting a very little bit because it's some pickup shots, and the rest of it, I'm completely behind the camera, and I'm gonna enjoy that so much, creating those images that I know now we can create, and just can't wait to get back on set.
Absolutely. I want to go through some of these photos again. When you look at all of this, your incredible body of work, first again, as an educator for 32 years and principal and superintendent, then getting into movies and films as an extra, then getting in further as an actor, a writer, producer, making movies, directing movies, being a part of it all, acting in them, writing, prolifically writing several novels as well, and publishing them and turning things into works of art. Then also having this fabulous vineyard and winery that you've got with your wife there in Texas. You are blessed in many different ways, and I think it's because of the fact that you have this passion, you have this desire to want to live life to the fullest, and to that's a great shot of you. There you go. Yeah,
my son actually took those pictures. He's a really good artist, and he's doing a marketing for a wine.
That's a Hallmark movie picture, if I ever saw one there.
Thank you. That's my as you say, 8x10 glossy that you always send in when you apply. He borrowed the camera, and we went out around taking pictures. That's actually a background shot there, but there's a 6 movie poster right there. A military veteran did that.
Great shot.
Yeah, and so we really had a lot of fun.
Like it's frozen in time. I mean, it almost looks like it's from the 1800s. Yeah, that's really a cool shot. This also too, which we looked at, is a cool shot of you as well.
Yeah, that's on the sun playing poker there, and a really neat story there. The man and I can't remember the actor's name. They took me out of that scene because they wanted to put a camera in my chair, and the man playing the sheriff would not go on until I got back. He said, "I'm not filming until Bill is sitting at the table." And so great. I couldn't believe it. And so he said, "I want everybody right here. I'm not filming." And so they come running out. "Where's Bill? Where's Bill?" And I was like, I grinned, and I was like, "Right here." And they said, "Get back in here." So they had like the camera under my arm sometimes, and I'm trying to play poker and all that. But he said, "I'm not filming unless Bill's in here." And so that was such a neat thing to do, and had a blast doing it, and just a lot of fun. That's probably the most fun I've had as an extra. Number one is my first big one, and number two, it was a Western, and got to meet some really neat actors and learn the process. It's kind of like going to your first ball game, pro ball game, your first I don't know, but you soak it in so much, and took a long time to get there, and just enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, it's really, and it seems like that's the story of your life. I mean, we will be looking for that memoir and the story, because you've really and Linda says you're officially now part of the Lovedies. Everybody that's a viewer becomes a Lovedie. So they've indoctrinated you into the Jim Masters Show Live Lovedie Hall here, from Linda, from Merlin, and cool stuff. You're a Lovedie now. Welcome. That's really nice. And they're saying inspiring conversation. And, obviously you have to have that way of thinking in order to be able to create the kind of material that you do. When you look at all of this, you must sometimes even pinch yourself and say, wow, this has turned out in a beautiful way.
Every day I pinch myself, and when I was just acting, I kept saying, if it all stopped today, it's been worth it. And again, if it all stopped today, it's been a blast. I do want to finish a few movies first before it all ends. But, we got a lawyer on a whim. I went fishing with a lawyer, and he put me in the name of an entertainment lawyer, and she's amazing. And how did we ever come together like that? And she, she's working on our behalf, and we're supposed to meet with distribution soon. A friend of mine that has come on, that's made a lot of movies. He's like, one day we're filming, and I said, well, another distribution offer, I'm going to have to send them to my lawyer. He's like, I can't get one, and you're turning them down right and left. I said, well, I'm not turning them down. I'm just sending them a lawyer. Yeah, but I can't even get that one person to answer me. And you get, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. I can't keep up with them now, but, it's really amazing. But, there was a very famous, I'm not going to say his name, but a very famous actor. His dad was even more famous than him. Watched our trailer and some of our clips, and he thought it was a multi-million-dollar budget movie, and we're talking less than 100,000. We're talking about $50,000 budget, and so
some of the greatest movies made years ago, or even independent films too, are lower budget, but it's the content, the story, the time, and the attention, and how people relate and react to it. Sometimes those big, expensive blockbusters bomb, and then you roll out an independent, and people are just like, they can't get enough of it.
I think that's what's really appealing to distribution is once we get this movie out, the next one will come along, because we'll be able to take, the next one will cost more money. There's no way we can get volunteers and all this to do this again. But let's say we spend $2 million on it. If it bombs in the world of entertainment, $2 million is not that much, but our $2 million movie is probably going to make, $10 million gross. And so they'll profit that $8 million versus, investing in a $200 million movie, and it may or may not. You lose $200 million. I don't know about you, but I can't sleep at night.
Yeah. Yeah. If I lose 20 in the parking lot and it falls out of the wallet, I still can't sleep.
But
this is a beautiful comment here. Christine in North Carolina goes, versatile describes Bill. What a career with decades in education, years of directing, writing, producing, acting, writing novels, your vineyard, your winery. Also, thanks for helping creating programs for kids and sharing. Blessed for your outcome with health. Keep on with your passions.
Thank you so much.
Christine in North Carolina. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Appreciate the listeners. Love doing live shows.
These viewers are amazing, aren't they? They're from all around the world. They're very interactive, and we call them loveties and all, because the show has a certain vibe to it of positivity and, doing this. And you're obviously living the dream. And, when you got that diagnosis earlier in June, it was just that, maybe a little bit of a wake up call or whatever, but that was about it. You have too much more to do and give and accomplish. And I think that's what it is. That's what it is, Bill. What would you say to somebody who, again, you have this wonderful mentoring background, and I love doing that too. What would you say to somebody that's watching right now, or may watch this on YouTube, on our YouTube channel later in the archives at Jim Masters TV, who might be considering going into the industry, whether they want to be an actor or they want to make movies, writing, producing, directing? What would you say as far as a piece of information or guidance from your hands-on experience?
Yeah, I read an article one time. If you want to act, you're going to have to act for free for a long time, and maybe you may break through, and maybe you don't. But you got to have fun with it too, and learn and hone your skills. But the good thing about want to be a director right now, everybody carries a really good movie camera and a microphone in their pocket now with the cell phones. Write you a script, because then you know the ins and outs of it. Right, and I'm not talking about a 30-page script. My scripts are 120 to 160 pages. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about 1 or 2 pages. Get some friends out in the backyard, get that phone, film it, put it together. There's all kinds of applications that you can buy to cut and splice movies, and you edit them and see how it turns out. And then first thing you know, you do that 2 or 3 times and enter it in some film festivals, or you start saying, I need a little bit better camera. Right? And you can buy those better cameras or sound system or whatever. And today's time, technology has made it where you can compete against a lot of people with not all the equipment that they may have. And so it's very scary to put your work out there. Don't get me wrong. When you put your work out there, what if nobody likes it? And so it's really scary to a point. And you really worry about how they're going to accept it and how it's going to be. But it's worthwhile if it's good stuff. And I don't want to ever turn anything bad out.
That's the thing too. And if you never, like, for example, I had a friend, he's since passed, but for years, he would wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning with these brilliant ideas. And he liked to do it when the house was quiet, when his parents were asleep and his sister was asleep. And, somehow when the house is quiet and everything is sort of dark and you don't have to worry about work and the phone ringing and the busyness of the daytime, he would wake up out of his sleep and run right to his typewriter and start typing screenplays, all these things. The only thing is he would never submit them for fear of the rejection, fear of the response if somebody didn't like it. And what would happen would be, like a year or 2 later, those scenarios would end up being TV shows and movies that somebody else thought of and wrote, and they went forward. So sometimes you have to say, you know what? Take the plunge, take the risk, go forward, because you don't want to be on the back porch when you're 85 with the lemonade saying, why didn't I ever pursue that? Why didn't I ever, right?
Exactly. And, we met, my wife and I, and first my cameraman, and we said, okay, on Showdown in Brazos, we can try to sell the screenplay. But you could have the next Gone with the Wind, but it gets shuffled in with so many other screenplays, nobody ever sees it. Let's shoot a trailer, and we discussed that, and then thought, we take a trailer to distribution, they're going to say, when can you have a movie? And we say, 3 years. They're not going to want to hear that. I said, if we're going to do all this, let's shoot the movie. And some people said I was the biggest idiot in the world for doing it that way. And guess what? The higher up we go in new movie knowledge, the more people say that's the best idea or best decision we ever made. So, it's little decisions you make along the way. And, you can nowadays you can enter all these screenplay contests and writing contests. Nobody knows if you don't win, but tell everybody if you do. But if you don't win, don't go, no, because not all of mine win. Some of them don't ever make it to a finalist or anything like that. And then the same one in the next contest is the big winner. And so it depends on who reads it and who likes it. And, I heard the quail whistle. One of the judges says, I usually do not like period pieces, but I couldn't put this one down. And so, for a period piece, you got your judges, if it's period piece, it goes like this on judges, as far as opinion wise, because not all of them like period pieces. And so you really got to capture their attention. And so find your genre, write about it, and hone those skills. Don't turn out junk, but just keep on trucking along, and you'll eventually get it. Because used to, when I was trying to get my first book published, and it's just on the shelf right now, my kids would love to get the letter of rejection and run back from the post office. Dad, you got another one. But look at me now. Go from all those rejections to now award-winning or nominated director, and I don't take it lightly. It's been a blast.
And look where it led you. You're on the Jim Masters Show live worldwide.
Yeah. I mean, I can't do it anymore now. It's over with.
You've reached
to the top.
The pinnacle there in your chapel room you've got there. Chapel on the hill. That's it. Couple more comments coming in here from, like Christine says, just go for it. You never know. She agrees with us. Great words of wisdom from you and I. And Francis says, folks, you know what I've learned tonight? You cannot be logged into Facebook on your telephone and try to log into a laptop at the same time. She talked about technology. It's one or the other. Oh, the iPhone. Well, the iPhones are difficult. The iPhones don't like any of this.
They're kind of smooth in the middle.
Yeah, it's an Android world. Absolutely. But she also adds, Bill, I've been sitting here listening to you for the entire time you've been on. Very, very interesting. Hello, everyone. She actually was so mesmerized. What happens is we have a lot of people that watch live, but then we have a lot of people, even more people that seem to watch. They binge watch the episodes on YouTube later, which is everybody watches stuff on demand now. And not everybody that's commenting are the only people watching. There's some people that watch and they just don't come up with something. She's so mesmerized by the conversation, being inspired by it, that she didn't want to interrupt the flow.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for sharing your life story with us, Linda, in St. Augustine, Florida. Wonderful town there as well. Beautiful. It really, really is. Bill, this was really amazing. And, I hope we get a chance to cross paths at some point. And, maybe, if you need somebody in one of those movies, I'll just grow a nice beard or whatever.
You never know. You never know where our paths cross again.
Actually, it's a small world. We all end up bumping into each other, especially in this industry. I've worked with people, again, that I worked with years ago, and now we're on the same set or it's in the same studio, or I'm heading it up or they're heading it up. It's totally, that's why it's good to be good to people. You got to be good to people. Very, very important. Absolutely. You're very inspiring to many through your entire career here thus far, which is still in progress. We look forward to hearing from you more. Jennifer says, thank you, Bill and Jim, for talking with her. Our pleasure as well, Jennifer. Thanks for your great questions. You're welcome back anytime, my friend. The door is always open. I wish you the best of health, continued success. Keep creating. Keep us posted on the development of all of this great material as you create more of it. We'd love to hear about it and share it with our audience here who's following along. And I hope you enjoyed your time with me as much as I have with you, Bill.
Oh, I had a blast. Thank you very much, man. I've enjoyed every second of it. So great to meet you and talk to your fans.
You as well. And Mary Bishop says, thanks, Bill. Wonderful words of wisdom. Can't top that, my friend. You have a great night. And before you go, we have our guest toasts. Do you still have anything left in that glass? Or
yeah,
a little bit. There we go. Toast, toast, toast to a fantastic guy and a great inspiration, actor, writer, producer, director, superintendent, everything. Vineyard and winery co-owner, chief bottle washer. He does it all.
I've done it.
He's available for hire. Kathy Short says, thanks, Bill, for your wonderful life stories, continued success. Linda says, cheers, H2O as well. Bill, thanks. We really appreciate this time, the amount of time, almost 2 hours you spent with us, which is wonderful. Ann says, thank you, Jim and Bill, for a wonderful evening. Our pleasure as well here on the show.
Much. Thank you so much.
You take care. You be well. Have a great Labor Day weekend with the family. And we will talk again real soon, my friend. Okay?
Love you. Take care.
All right. You take care. Bye-bye now. Cheers. Great guest, huh? Really amazing. He's a true inspiration if you think about his years, 32 years in the educational system as an educator and principal and superintendent. Could have retired, could have just said, I'm done. That's it. That's all I need to do. But then got involved in acting, first extra roles in movies and films, and then liking that, wanting to do more of that, and then getting into writing and directing and producing and actually thinking up the ideas for movies, as well as being a prolific novelist as well, inspiring people. And then you think, okay, that should be plenty, right? The career in education, the career now in the ever-changing and unpredictable world of the entertainment industry, and I know how that is, that should be enough, right? No, then there in beautiful Texas, they create a winery, a vineyard, and they're getting their hands dirty and they're working the soil and the earth and creating beautiful wines as well, all giving back in so many ways. Very inspirational story where we mentioned about his health scare in June. I applaud him for sharing that with us. I didn't know that prior. And I think it's a beautiful thing because it might inspire somebody else who's watching who might be saying, you know what, not feeling so hot. Maybe I should go get checked out, whatever it is. So again, a lot of inspiration and a lot of levity and fun and good times in this conversation, which always seems to happen on this show. And I think that's what makes this show extra special. Christine says, a levity cheer to the end. You got it. Absolutely. Jennifer Barry says, such a fun night. Very interesting, from Linda in Florida. And Bill reminds me of your Uncle Bill on your daddy's side. Really? Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. Good guy. Well, if you joined us late, we'll run through a few photos here. It's a great shot of him here. He's talking about he's pitched some of his material to Hallmark, the Hallmark Channel as well. They've won countless awards for their movies and their productions. He's focused on Westerns, but again, he's got a lot of other material. This is the newest, the Showdown on the Brazos. And this one he was talking about as well, Showdown on the Guadalupe. This one he's really excited about. And he's going to be sending me, I think, some of the music. He was so excited about the theme, the soundtrack to Ive Got Your Sixth. And that's the one that really pays homage to the military, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So many incredible books. There he is with his beautiful horse right there on the ranch. He and his wonderful wife, Linda. Again, they have a beautiful, beautiful property there in Texas and a wonderful family. This is another great screenshot from the movies. Really, really cool stuff. And have him pop on and chat with us about his incredible career. It's like the trifecta, from being an educator to being an actor, writer, producer, director, and then having a beautiful vineyard and winery producing fine wines there in Texas, raising horses as well. Really, really cool stuff. So we thank very much our special guest, actor, writer, producer, director, superintendent, principal, retired superintendent, vineyard master, and winery owner, co-owner, and the whole bit, Bill Foster. Really fostering good times for all. I want to let you know tomorrow we have an amazing Saturday night. Lots of music, lots of fun tomorrow, as my special guest is a great friend of mine. He's all excited to be here. This is the renowned Pepe Castro. Pepe Castro has written songs for so many other major artists. He's a prolific songwriter, singer. He's been in major bands, many of which you will recall when we talk about it tomorrow night. He's going to perform live. He's going to share a lot of his music. He's going to have great inspirational stories and conversation. This is Pepe Castro. He is a music legend. And we're so excited to have him here again. He's written songs that Cher has sung and so many others, and performs as well. And he's been in so many bands, and he's a cool guy. He's a lot of fun. It's going to be a great Saturday night of music and levity and a lot more. Can't wait to have him tomorrow night. And then on Sunday, another amazing show as Irish tenor, the wonderful Paul Byram, originally from Celtic Thunder, is going to be here live. It's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern. All of our shows are 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live here on YouTube at Jim Masters TV, as well as Facebook and Periscope and Twitch at Jim Masters TV. But we really emphasize the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share the channel as we build that together. Paul Byram is going to be here on Sunday. And then on Monday, another incredible guest, renowned and acclaimed jazz singer, Paulette McWilliams, is going to be with us on Monday. It's going to be extraordinary. Just Google her. You'll see her incredible body of work, hear her beautiful voice. Again, she's an acclaimed and renowned jazz singer. She's going to be here this Monday as we continue on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series to roll out night after night after night of extraordinary conversations, levity on location segments, inspiration, laughs, food, music, the whole bit. Just like a television show, Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, where there's something for everybody and every night is something different. Paulette McWilliams, don't miss it. Monday Night Live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. She is all excited to be here. We can't wait to have her here. That's this Monday. Reminder, on my birthday, which is September 24th, which unbelievably is only 20 days away from today. Wow. We have some real legends that are coming in as well. The Voices of Classic Soul, members of the Temptations, the Platters, the Four Tops, and the Drifters are going to be my guest on September 24th. I believe that's a Thursday. They're going to perform live. This is a very special evening. Their reps contacted me, and they contacted me and said, Jim, we've watched your show. We're following your show. We want to be on your show. And I'm hearing that a lot. So many people want to be on this show to join this levity. We are booked now till November. Here it is. We're just starting September at the time of this show. And we were booked with guests every single night all the way till we actually are booked. We have guests already in November that are booked already. It's really extraordinary. I'm just so blown away. Voices of Classic Soul, these legends, September 24th, going to be joining us here live on the show. Really a lot of excitement coming up. Mary Bishop says she subscribed to YouTube, just figuring out how to comment. That is perfect. Glad that you're there. We appreciate that. We toast you. We toast all of our viewers as we do our guests. Can't wait for September 24th. What a treat. Absolutely. I agree, Linda. An inspirational evening with Bill. The openness of his health scare from sharing could save and help others. Save a life, get those checks. That's right. Tune in and be aware of our bodies to stay alive and spread the love. You got it. Absolutely. If for any reason you're not here tomorrow, we're going to have a great night tomorrow. You can see it on YouTube in the archives. Phenomenal singer, songwriter, musician, and so much more. Pepe Castro. We're going to have a blast tomorrow. I've known him for years. He's a dear friend. Definitely Paul Byram, of course. And You Love Jazz, so do I. Paulette McWilliams will be here Monday, acclaimed jazz singer and recording artist. She will be here Monday. We got a whole busy week of great guests. This is awesome news with all the shows coming up. I look forward to many. Thank you very much. We're working hard here behind the scenes, creating, producing these shows. It's a lot of work because I'm balancing it with all my professional work, hosting radio shows and television work that I do professionally in my career. And then we added on this show 18 weeks ago, but having a blast. As long as you guys are here and you spread the word and more people discover it here on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, everywhere, that'll be great. I need to have myself as a guest, Mr. Levity. I like that. I've been on a couple of shows recently, but that's kind of cool. I like that. That's really, really nice. That's beautiful to say. Jennifer says, I can't wait to celebrate your birthday with you and celebrate with your guests. Yeah, the voices of classic soul, Motown legends are going to be here September 24th. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Christopher Joseph says, when I opened for the Temps and Tops of the Masonic in Toledo, Ohio, you were interviewed on WERE, Cleveland National Radio, the Marty and Marge Conn Show. Terrific. Let's party on Saturday Night Fever. Looking forward. Yeah, Pepe Castro is going to be here. You're going to love that. That's tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of fun. And then Paul Byram, originally from Celtic Thunder, brilliant Irish tenor. He's going to be live and direct. Pepe is going to be live and direct from Florida. And that's tomorrow. And Paul Byram is going to be live and direct from Ireland Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Carla in South America, Brazil, we toast you as well. Good to see you, and we appreciate your watching. Francis, cheers to all tonight with the water for you. This is just iced tea, lemonade iced tea. That's all this is. Just some lemonade, refreshing lemonade iced tea. It's probably not as chilled as it was when I first started the show, but it's very refreshing. I'll put an ice cube in it when the show is wrapped. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope everybody's having a good day today. And we love you all. Fun, you know, these shows go by so fast. It doesn't even feel like 2 hours went by, but 2 hours just went by, which in a New York minute, really, really amazing. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope you enjoyed my special guest, award-winning actor, writer, director, producer, vineyard owner as well. And just a great guy, real straight shooter, authentic. Bill Foster, our guest tonight. Again, one more time, Pepe Castro, brilliant musician, singer, songwriter, going to be here tomorrow. Paul Byram, they are fabulous Irish singer and tenor, originally from Celtic Thunder, is going to be here Sunday. And on Monday, jazz singer Paulette McWilliams is going to be here as well. I also thank dear friend Steve Joyner for all of his support as well. We appreciate his love for the show and his support. Really beautiful. So many people wanting to make this show just grow and expand. And I love that. I really, really love that. It's really cool. And another guy that has a hat is Gilligan. We're the hat guys. Jim, I like your hat. You look great, man. I love that. I can hear you saying that too. That's a cool picture of you, that expression where you're sort of like, your head is sort of like tilted. I'm Jennifer Barry, and I'm Zen. Cool stuff, Jen. I had a wonderful evening. Good night. Thank you very much, Ann Wozniak. I'm glad that you did. Yes, love your hat, Mr. Levity. Thank you very much. I should sport some more. I have all kinds of different hats up in the upstairs closet on the shelf. Don't forget to relax, breathe, take care of one another. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. That's a mouthful, but it's worth it. Relax, breathe, take care of one another. As Bill said, he's hoping we all come together, we all support one another, lift one another up. Beautifully said. We say that every night here on the show. So relax, breathe, take care of one another. Love you all. Thanks for all the levity, and all the time and attention. We really appreciate this. We created this 18 weeks ago as of this coming Monday. and it's just continuing to be a blessing and growing. It's a unique show here on the program, and I'm hearing that from a lot of viewers, even people that are colleagues of mine in the industry who are watching this are saying, this is really something cool that you've created, Jim, and hats off to you, pun intended. And people are really enjoying it, and that blesses my heart to hear that. So we salute you guys as well with all of the love that we have here, and the star. As you know, I might be the star host, producer of the show, but you guys are the stars as well. You and you and you and you, all of you. Now, what show is going to do that? We'll say that you're the stars too. Only here for you on the Jim Master Show Live. Lots of levity, lots of good times, good conversation. That's what it's all about. That's what I like to do. Have a good time. Good time. Good stuff. Ooh, that's cool. That's cool. Can't wait to get that. I hope it's not ticking. Thanks, Christopher. Our viewer of the week. We're still celebrating Christopher Joseph. If you just joined us or you don't know what we're talking about, we do viewer of the week. We take one viewer who's been very loyal and watching every night and celebrating and supporting the show and sharing links and telling everybody about it, becomes the designated viewer of the week. And Christopher Joseph in Ohio is our viewer of the week. Continued great lineups of shows. Pepe Castro tomorrow, Paul Byram, Paulette McWilliams, Jazz on Monday. Lots of good stuff. Thanks, Jim. It was another great show. Have a great evening to you as well. Linda Odell in Jacksonville, Florida says, the lovity, love to you and lovities. Absolutely. Is there a pop-up show for the weekend with your schedule? You love when I do those pop-up shows where we don't even have a guest. It's just us chatting, the hosts and the viewers chatting. I might try to do one tomorrow. If so, we will announce it on, it might be Facebook or it might be YouTube. Not sure yet. We definitely like to do them on YouTube, but we'll post something either late tonight or early in the morning. I have to take a look at the schedule because we're getting ready for a big show with my dear friend, singer, songwriter, and musician, Pepe Castro, tomorrow on our Saturday night show. But keep watching. We may have one because I know you guys want to do a host chat with me where it's just the hosts and chatting with the viewers. I love doing that because, you know, when we started the show, we didn't always have guests. Guests started to wanting to come on the show, and I can't believe we're booked with guests all the way every single night of the week, Monday through Sunday until November. And we already have a couple of people in November. Wait to hear some of the other people that are coming on the show. But again, the show really, the first thing about the show is you and I, and then we bring the guests on. The whole creation of this show, the Jim Master Show Live, is the relationship between myself and the viewers who watch every night. Because the amazing, wonderful guests we have, they come in and out and they share their stories and their talents, and we love all of that, and it's fantastic. We love it. But the main people that are here night after night, day after day, are you and I. So that is the thrust of this show first, is Jim Masters the host, and all the amazing lovities and viewers around the world. And then we sprinkle in the on-location segments, all the other things we've done, comedy, trivia, inspiring stories, and amazing guests. Those are sort of add-ons to what the real thrust of this show is, which is the relationship between myself and you, our faithful audience around the world who we love. So we'll keep you posted on that, Christine, and a lifetime goal that all entertainers pine for. Very true. Jim, can we all do cheers together? Sure. If you have your, the set's falling apart. Do you have your glass? Again, I just have some iced tea, lemonade. That's all we have here. But we will cheer you. Sláinte, that's the Irish word for cheers. And St. Augustine, yes, Beatles St. Augustine. Yes, pop-up show. I know you guys like if I do a pop-up show. And dear friend Tim Janis watching. Tim, thank you very much. Good to see you. Hope you guys are doing well there. I think you're in, I don't know if you're in Maine right now or New Mexico. Two beautiful spots that I love. Hopefully we'll see you soon with all this craziness going on. And thanks for your wonderful comments all the time, my friend. And we love you and the gang as well. Tim is a prolific composer and musician. 12, 13, 14 public television specials. I've had an opportunity to interview him multiple times on public television and also work on Carnegie Hall concerts with him, other things, just break bread and go out to dinner. And we worked on a beautiful special up in Maine, Celtic Heart, last year, which was a blessing. And he has this fabulous movie called Buttons that's out as well with Angela Lansbury and Dick Van Dyke and Olivia Clarke. Remember, she starred in that. She was the young girl in that, and she was a guest a couple of months ago here on the Jim Masters Show Live. She performed live for us as well, and we loved that. So it's good to see Tim here as well. Good stuff, good stuff. We love you guys. All right, we're going to wrap up. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time. We will be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific with Pepe Castro, award-winning and legendary singer, songwriter, and musician. And then Paul Byram, originally with Celtic Thunder, an amazing Irish tenor. He's going to be here on Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And then jazz singer, acclaimed jazz singer, Paulette McWilliams is going to be here Monday. Really cool. For those of you who love Celtic Thunder, Colm Keegan, who's also been with Celtic Thunder and has his solo career as well. Colm Keegan is here on Sunday the 13th. So Paul Byram is this Sunday, the 13th. Colm Keegan is going to be here. He wanted to pop on, so I said, absolutely. All are welcome, as are you. Good night, gang. Thanks for being with us. We love you all. We thank again our very special guest, actor, writer, director, producer, Bill Foster. It was a blessing having him on the show and always a blessing having you with us as well. We cheer all of you, salute all of you, and wish you a wonderful evening. All right? Thanks for all the great comments, all the activity, and all the love, all the lovity. We'll see you tomorrow night. I knew if I paused, another comment would come in. I love it. Good night, Jim. And lovities, you too. Thanks, Jim. See you tomorrow night. Stay safe. You too as well, Jennifer. And everybody else who hasn't commented but is watching as well. Not everybody that is watching comments. So all of you that's watching that maybe you don't have anything to say or you don't think you have anything to say, you're always welcome to comment. We welcome all, interactivity. But we thank you for watching as well, whether you're watching live or you're watching later in the archives at Jim Masters TV. Our viewer of the week, Christopher Joseph, says, night all. Linda says, good night, Mr. Levity and Lovities. Good way to wrap up another great show. Francis says, good night, everyone. God bless. God's blessing to all. That's beautiful as well. And night, night. Perfectly said, gang. All right, you guys take care. Happy Labor Day weekend to everybody in the United States. We're here tomorrow, laboring this weekend with more shows for you to bring you great entertainment and information on the Jim Masters Show Live. That's it. Can't think of anything else to say other than I love you and good night. It's rare for me to not have much to say. Cheers, folks. See you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye.